Let's look forward to the next one because we've got Scotto versus Hufflepufflegus, which, by the way, silly name, certainly strikes fear in my eyes here, Sharky, because this is a lobby that is scarier than I have seen in quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, Huff versus Scotto. Scotto has already pulled off one upset, so there's a lot going, a lot of momentum. I was able to defeat, Fractal, the runner-up for this year's CTWC, but now he faces another runner-up to a world champion. Huff, placed second in 2021, so Scotto yet again has to climb another mountain. And if Scotto is able to overcome Huff, having to, play as solid and consistently as he did up against Fractal, then he has the luxury of playing a world champion in the winners finals, assuming Scotto is able to defeat Huff. But also at the same time, Huff is the person that currently has all the world records, the score world record, the level world record here in TEC.
I mean, sorry, Sharky, keep going. I'm just
no, you're good.
Like, how do you go up against the world? How do you go? I mean, all of these players are so incredible. All of these players at the top of their game. How do you go up against one with the WC next to their name? I don't know. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and let you two bring us through this competition here. If I have anything exciting to say, I'll jump in. But for the moment, GG's, well done. I'm just going to sit here and try my best to glean some from this talented group of Tetris players.
So I have an interesting observation in that, well, Scotto just took out Fractal, but Hufflepufflegus was the one to take out Eric ICX, like in the Honda Cup qualifier. So both of these guys have taken out these final boss class rivals, and now they're fighting each other. What's gonna happen? I am excited.
Yeah, and of course, there's always the prospect of if Huff is able to defeat Scotto here, we get the rematch to possibly one of the greatest series that we've seen, or if you ask me, the greatest series that we've seen in Honda Cup so far, which was that match between Huff and Eric.
That's right, yeah. All leading up to this, and this was before we knew that Eric ICX would be the current reigning world champion.
Yeah, but of course, our focus is now on the game. Scotto has a similar win condition, and the thing that's going to make this more difficult, and you can already see a little bit of a couple of misdrops over there from Huff, is we've seen what Huff is capable of. Huff has kind of like the same prowess that Eric does in terms of 29 playability here on TEC.
That's right. Absolutely. That's what, I mean, you can't even take games away from Eric unless you're able to do that, and Huff having been able to prove that in the past. Yeah, Scotto's going to have to go up against that once again after coming off the victory with Fractal.
But so far, Scotto is doing a good job. That one misdrop allowed Scotto to kind of generate just over half a Tetris lead. And that's kind of what you have to do. Both these players are on the same piece sets. We've already established that. They get the long bars, the same amount of long bars. If Scotto can get in a position where he's regularly utilizing these long bars for Tetrises while Huff cannot, we can start to see a little bit of a lead start to kind of snowball, at least going into level 19.
Yeah, I mean, we are seeing this similar story, with either the tapper or the hybrid player coming out to an early lead with the precision, and then the roller committing more mistakes leading up to level 29 or even 19 for that matter, but then completely able to complete the chase down that's required. So whether that will be repeatable for Scotto, it's going to be super interesting here when in this second roller versus hybrid battle.
Yeah, Scotto right now looks like it's having a little bit more of a better accuracy in terms of being able to score Tetrises reliably over Huff at the moment. But also we can see Huff, able to kind of keep up with Scotto too, just really nailing that stuff.
Yeah, you can see Huff's piece movement just flying the pieces over to the left to dispose of them when needed. That's one of the powers of rolling.
291,000 for Scotto and 251,000 for Huff. Scotto able to kind of break away a little bit, but in terms of scores, we are looking at some pretty strong games here.
That's right.
And, like we mentioned before, these players are, they're fighting for a spot in the winners finals, where we have Eric waiting in the wings, and currently Eric is playing Guitar Hero while waiting.
Wow. Well, I guess that's one way to keep keep the fingers warm. As Alexei Pajitnov says, do your fingers.
Yeah, right now, Huff actually deciding to hold out for a T-piece to set up for that dirty Tetris and convert it over. And I gotta say, that's some discipline on Huff's end.
Yeah, that's the efficiency that you want to get. If you see a situation like that and have an accommodating playfield like that, then go for it. Huff getting the job done, scoring every bit that's possible.
Yeah, being able to recognize that, you know, creating a J piece would have actually prolonged the burn by, I mean, at least one line. And seeing that as like, I'm going to wait for preferably an L piece or a T piece, and being able to hold out allows Huff to kind of stay within this 30,000 point range.
Yeah, the Huff's super efficient, right up there with Scotto. So this is going to be a close game no matter what. Huff built up for a couple of Tetrises, get a neck and neck with this. If the long bars came, triples into a Tetris, and boom, Tetris for Huff. We are neck and neck.
Scotto having to do just a little bit of burning here. And there it is, boom, Tetris for Scotto. Still holding on to this lead.
Huff with a very interesting spin tuck there.
But we're gonna hit level 19. 2 Tetrises remain. Looking at a potential 500k transition for Huff. Scotto is already there. And Huff is going to fall just short. And Huff could be setting up for a center wall.
Yeah, that looks to be the case. Boom, Tetris for Huff.
Only having to take 2 burn lines to get back to the right-hand side.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful setup by Huff there.
Scotto, on the other hand, was going to transition with a 550 transition. So, kind of doing what need to be done, but things are only going to get harder from here.
Right. Strong games by both players.
And Huff going for that tuck, able to knock down a Tetris, trying to get set up for another, and is ready. Scotto still only with a, now actually lost the lead following that Tetris. It's going to regain it, but we're only separated by 1 Tetris, and so we can see some back and forth action happening here.
Yeah, this is a really strong game from Huff. Just getting the right solves and keeping efficient with the score here. Plus, with all that movement from the rolling, not making too many misdrops.
Another Tetris for Huff. Gonna have to take a couple of burns, and actually gonna kind of reset the stack and burn all the way down.
Interesting. Yeah, it takes the less aggressive play there, but keeps the stack in textbook condition, which is, you know, having the well on the right and then burning it off when you have to. Bang down the Tetris like that.
Yeah, 759 for Scotto, 721 here for Huff. Scotto actually going with row 2 is going to knock it down. Starting to pull away slightly. Huff is going to make Scotto work for this.
Yeah. And with the points worth more, you know, the deeper we venture past level 19, we'll see if there's this separation is going to continue. Okay, Huff with a misdrop there on the left. He's got to create a hole there, so that's going to take some burning.
Scotto eyepiece dependent. Going to also have to do some burning. Oh, very nice solution. Would love to get a J piece. Just going to burn it all the way down. And Huff actually has the lead, scoring that dirty Tetris to increase it further.
Yeah, Huff on the offensive there, taking the riskier solution and is rewarded with the lead now, 50,000 points up. He's got to build off of row 2.
Scotto missing that Z spin.
So another thing that we haven't talked about yet is that tapping is actually much more demanding on the hands than rolling is. And as tappers play deeper into the tournament, will we see endurance become a factor versus the rollers?
Yeah, because we're talking about, you know, these matches, they're best of 5, so you're having to play a lot of these matches constantly. And to play them at a high level, to be accurate, especially with how physically demanding tapping is, you know, there's bound to be, you know, some mistakes that happen. And
yeah.
Oh no, Scotto's in trouble and is down by 100,000 points as Huff is just recently maxed out.
Yeah, maxed out kill screen. So Huff now showing the power of rolling, surviving here in 29. And Scotto's going to pop out. And Huff takes the first round.
Yeah, 1,096,000 points. Huff takes game 1. And they were close all the way up until around level 25. Scotto missed a Z-spin and couldn't really recover quickly enough to stay, you know, kind of close with Huff's current score at that time.
Yeah, back when the meta was dash versus tapping, there was always the argument that it's like, well, tapping, you know, is a lot more strenuous on your hands. You know, can you do this for years and years? You know, is there a better way to do this? And rolling was the solution. Which is a lot more energy efficient and less wear and tear on the hand. So as this day progresses, you know, we're doing best 3 out of 5 matches here. Will we see a drop in performance from the tappers?
Yeah, but if that is also the case, then, you know, we could see maybe not necessarily a drop in performance, but a way that they decide to stack. Because tappers can generally feel whenever, you know, they're feeling fast, if you will. And in certain cases, if they are noticing it's like, all right, I'm not fast right now, maybe I'm going to go for a more conservative stacking style.
That's true. And if a lot of players...
Go ahead.
Oh, with players having experienced, you know, the generation of play with dash versus tapping, you know, their stacking style can adapt to a less risky style that, you know, enables you not to rely on rolling or tapping.
So far, Huff is able to have a lead here. Scotto, really annoying hole right there in column 4. Still going to knock down a Tetris, but now has to find a way to navigate through it. And Huff having to do a little bit of burning too.
Gets the weird bits. Sets up the Tetris with it.
The J-piece comes. This could actually be an ideal burnout. And, you know, RNG being RNG.
Ooh, nice dirty from Scotto there.
Boom, Tetris for Huff in column 8. And is actually set up for a column 9. So, got a little Tetris bingo action going on.
Opting to spend 3 eye pieces for the next Tetris. There it is. Boom, Tetris for Huff. Scotto also aggressive.
Going for the column 4.
Maintaining it, yeah. There it is. Boom, dirty column 4 Tetris for Scotto.
And could actually swap it over to a column 6. Oh, very nicely done. If the eyepiece actually comes soon, this could result in a perfect transfer, but covers up that that column 10 with that T-piece. Both these players showing how versatile they are, you know, all around the board. Yes, this might be the most efficient to go for the right well, but also showing that if the pieces kind of bring them in that kind of way, they can roll with the punches and score efficiently that way.
Yeah, turn it into a Tetris if you can, and you know, that's you know, the next what do you call it? The next level of thinking, 4D thinking that it takes to succeed.
Yeah, really tough pieces for Scotto here. Just really a lot of jagged pieces, and if you don't have a spot for said jagged piece that you get, it really can add some very complex problems to your board. And now Scotto's kind of forced to have to burn just to survive, to have to deal with it. And even if the long bar does come, it's not going to be a Tetris, it's going to be a triple.
Yeah. So will Scotto build on top? No, it's just going to burn all the way back down, more holes forming along the way. So that's going to affect Scotto's efficiency, and Huff's going to grow this lead now at 143,000 points. And is Tetris ready?
This is quite an insane game from Huff. 445 here at 91 lines. This is almost 650,000 K transition territory.
Yeah, it's got to be a monster score from Huff. So Huff looking really good right now. Perfect position. Boom, Tetris for Huff, 162,000 point lead now.
Yeah, Huff really wants, you know, to be able to play up against Eric. And of course, these players, they want to stay in the upper bracket. Yes, it's double elimination, but you have a massive advantage going into the grand finale.
Yeah, and there's dangerous players everywhere in the bracket. You got Fractal on lower bracket, and you've got Eric and, you know, waiting in winners. So no one is safe. It's just stacked all the way through.
Yep. So far, 560 here for Huff. This is a massive transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scotto's got his work cut out for him, even at this point.
And there's already, you know, the disadvantage going on the level 29. So Scotto is going to have to really push it here on the post transition, and also hope that Huff runs into some kind of situation where they're not scoring as much. Huff is going to actually try and go for the 670. Needs an L piece in order to do so. Oh, now needs an I piece. One to get set up and then one to go for a Tetris, but doesn't look like he's going to come.
They're both going through this drought, and Scotto pulls out early and takes the burns. Still waiting for the long bar, hoping to get the Tetris, and does. Simul Tetris there. Both players virtually in the same piece in the set. So if they're both Tetris ready, they'll both score. Huff with some junk now forming. He's gonna have to burn some lines in the future there. Let's see how cleanly it can get solved.
I like how Huff is going to kind of seal off that massive chasm on the right-hand side and deal with that hole first.
Scotto had some problems there. Wasn't able to build or clear that off, and is going to top out there, and Huff takes that second round with authority, with a huge point lead and just a better board. Scotto not able to get that situation under control in time.
Yeah, 712,000 at level 20. That is actually ridiculous.
Yeah, we could see, you know, a roller sweeping a tapper like in 2 games in a row, which is, me as a tapper, you know, I find that rather disheartening, but maybe that will be inspiring to players to take up rolling. We shall see.
Yeah, and I mean, these players, especially, you know, Eric and Huff, having to relearn timings essentially here on TEC.
That's right.
You know, it's definitely a little bit of pain there, but as soon as they got the timings down, you can really see the benefits of learning TEC.
Yeah, and players were intentionally, I think I talked to Fractal about this, I was intentionally not playing TEC prior to CTWC to maintain their classic Tetris timings, you know, on the original hardware. So there's a bit of a ramp that they had to climb in the last 2 weeks after the CTWC in Portland to get up to speed on this one for the money and the big cash prize here.
Yeah, but right now, Huff with a pretty good opener. One Tetris more efficient than Scotto, but both players with some very clean stacks.
Yeah. Beautiful stacks. Both Tetris ready. But now they're going to have to skim off the top because of the lack of a long bar. But there it is for Scotto, and there it is for Huff. Boom, Tetris.
And small little misdrop over there from Huff. Probably tried to make the rotation, but did it a tad bit too late and couldn't really adjust the positioning.
Yeah, so that's going to cause some burns. Nothing too bad. Looks like to be able to solve out of that pretty efficiently. Might get a triple off that if the long bar comes.
Yeah. As a result, though, Scotto was able to overcome the deficit and is now actually one Tetris in the lead. As both players spike through yet again another drought.
Hey, Huff back in the clear. Boom, Tetris for Huff, and boom, Tetris for Scotto.
$39 to now $203 and around the 50 line mark. So we're looking at some mid 500K transitions.
Yeah, strong games from both. There's some burning here and there, but overall, they're able to maintain their Tetris rate.
The boards haven't really been in too much trouble. There's been, you know, one noticeable drought, but they were both able to handle it, you know, very well.
Nice adjustment by Scott there, keeping the board clean and efficient.
Huff looking for a... Oh, actually, wow, that adjustment by Huff, that was insane. Instead of setting up the T-spin dependency, Huff decided to make the adjustment to create a Z-spin dependency as well, because that has more solutions possible. You can either go for a Z-spin, or you can hold out and just go for a T-tuck. And
right,
that's just insane to be able to recognize that at the moment that Huff did.
Yeah, Huff solves right now on point. Just a clinic in piece placement, keeping the board accommodating, and with those clever solves. I mean, that's why Tetris is so fun to watch, because sometimes you'll see players do something you wouldn't have thought of, and it's amazing.
Yeah, especially, you know, when we talk about the whole entire premise of adjustments is in allowing for increased efficiency and not having to hold out for certain pieces and then forced to burn lines to compensate. It's kind of allowed Huff to kind of stay within this 30,000 point range deficit. Oh my gosh! Did you just see that from Scotto?
I saw something. I'm trying to figure out what it was.
Scotto did a tuck and then did 2 rotations at the last second in order to get the T piece from a right facing orientation to a left facing orientation. That is the first time I've seen that done in TEC.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to go back to the tape and really study this one, aren't we, Sharky?
Yeah,
this event has been insane.
Really amazing. We are nearing the transition.
Yeah. Speaking of nearing the end, you know, we usually think that Tetris season is over, you know, once the Portland Retro Gaming Expo is done, but Honda Fan Cup, it has produced some of the greatest matches we've ever seen.
Yeah, you had the Honda Fan Cup, you know, there was CTWC, then there was, of course, the Tetris Effect Connected World Championship, and now there's the Honda Cup. All in the month of October, too.
Yep. It's setting a new standard, you know, for and in years to come. Geez, where are we going to go next? It's crazy, and I'm excited. Can't wait to take this ride with you.
Yeah, right now, though, Huff, some minor complications.
Yeah.
Should be able to dig out of this efficiently. All right,
Probably trying to stay out of trouble, yeah. I think Huff was trying to stay out of trouble for transition there, and
yeah, Huff has the innate advantage in this set, though. Is up 2-0. All the pressure is on Scotto, and Scotto, at the end of the day, has to force Huff to play 29.
Right. And yeah, Scotto definitely wanting to stay in this match here. Winner's bracket position on the line.
Yeah, and having to go down there to the bottom bracket where, you know, you have players like Broden and Fractal and Smooth, you know, not necessarily ideal position to be in. So want to try and keep at least this match alive by taking game 3. But Huff is not making it easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, winner's semis, I mean, this is definitely already stating a case for if you win, then you're going to get guaranteed more money. Okay, good clean stacks on both. Scotto taking some burns.
And all right, eyepiece comes just in enough time for Scotto. Middle of the stack was kind of getting a little hilly there.
Scotto really managing the aggression. Staying just right on the line, being Tetris ready.
Yeah. Another eyepiece Strauss, though, is going to be able to knock down a Tetris right there. Still holding on to this 80,000 point lead.
Yeah, surprisingly. And Huff with a clean board now. Bangs down to Tetris there.
Same as Scotto, 854 to now 771. And the way that both of these players have been playing 19 this game has been incredibly clean.
Yeah, I'm looking at both, trying to watch both boards at the same time, and the kinds of moves and the placements that they're pulling off. I mean, this is a really great match here. Definitely. Yeah,
the boards actually looked borderline identical right there going into 25. But Scotto having to do some burning here. Opens up the well. Very smart decision right there.
Yeah.
But, oh, a little bit of a burst. Able to navigate through it just fine. Still up by 80,000 points.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Like, it's just staying the same. I mean, Huff's been scoring, no question. But Scotto's been remaining with the points efficiency here, even post 19. But, you know, 29 is coming. They are hurtling at light speed to level 29. Yeah. And it's all a matter of how big can Scotto get that lead, because we know that Huff's chase down ability on 29 is going to be a matter.
Scotto was able to get a double Tetris into a max, but oh my gosh, Tetris for Huff, and Scotto's going to top out.
Oh man, so the chase down only 32,000 points. Huff banged down the triple there on level 29.
Still not the most comfortable. The board's been built up a little bit, and there is a massive amount of... Yeah. But 10 more lines will do it. Oh, that triple's massive. One more line.
And
do it, and there it is.
Huff completing the sweep, sending Scotto to the lower bracket.
I mean, what a fantastic post-transition from both players. Like, they kept the lead or the deficit the same throughout, all the way up until level 28.
Yeah. Now that was both players giving it their all, and they're really showing a lot of great solves.
Yeah, but what a set. But now that means that we're gonna have a rematch between our grand finalists from week 2 of the Honda Cup, Huff versus Eric.
Yeah, this is the rematch that we've been excited about. We weren't expecting, well, no one could know what to expect, but you know, Huff took out Eric and then qualified for the Honda Cup, and then Eric won CTWC and got into the Honda Cup. So now they're back, and it's gonna get crazier than ever. Now they're both warmed up on TEC. Let's go.
They are definitely warmed up. I'd say so far they're pretty hot going into some of these competitions. Certainly coming into these farther into our bracket system. I want to mention, I was looking in chat during that last round. Brian CH said, every time I look at one board, Sharky, something interesting happens in the other. There is just no way to keep your eyes on both, because at this point it has been, well, to Chris's point, neck and neck.
Yeah, it's been truly phenomenal, especially in that last game. A lot of things that were performed to just increase efficiency by maybe saving 1 or 2 lines. You know, Scotto with the double rotation on the T, Huff with the adjustment to have for a more accommodating setup. It was amazing to watch, especially me as a player and a commentator. Seeing that is like, oh, I need to look at this later, you know, see if I can recognize that pattern myself.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to say, Chris, you mentioned that as well. This is one of those moments where you take a look at the game tape, because Chris, you kept mentioning highlights. These are highlight reel moments. These are actual highlight reel moments, and I think that's such an important aspect to mention, and that you have been within this Honda Fan Cup, is that we're seeing things that are unusual and extraordinary.
Yeah, players are pushing each other to do better, and these little adjustments, being able to, within frames, you know, of timing precision, pull off these tucks and these last-second adjustments, and be able to recognize the piece formations and then change their plan based on the next shape that comes. It's just incredible to see, and you can't take it all in. 2 players playing against each other. It's a catch-22. You want to have this great competition, and you want to learn more about the game by watching these players, and it's so fun to watch, but having it all hit you at the same time is almost too much for a person watching it to handle. So appreciation to the players for putting on such a great show and making this something worth watching again.
Absolutely, and I think as we talk about, we're going to look at those brackets here shortly, but Sharky, I want to talk about the TEC timing, because Chris had mentioned it a couple of times, but one of those things I think we always forget. We forget the people behind the controllers. And in this case, there was a pretty steep learning curve that happened in the last 2 weeks for some of these players.
Yeah, the way that the TC timing works, I mean, if you want to be as accurate and have as much time, I guess you can say, in terms of frames as possible, then you would buy an NES and you would play the original Tetris version on a CRT. This is essentially like that, except for you have to deal with, input latency, and then maybe you might not have the best monitor, or, all these different factors. And so these players are having to readjust to the timings in order to be as accurate with the placements that they are being shown in today's matches.
Absolutely. Speaking of today's matches, let's take a look at what those brackets are telling us here. Oh my goodness. Okay, Chris, let's break it down here. We've obviously gone through most of our winners semifinals, and of course that winners final, that is the battle of the ages.
Yeah, so we're gonna get that rematch, Eric ICX versus Huffaluffagus, which was what we had as our grand finals in on the Fan Cup Week 2. And then on the bottom, it looks like, I'm not sure if we're going to be broadcasting this, but it looks like Scotto Bozo is going to be going against Smooth. Smooth being the final qualifier from Honda Cup Week 4, which was just last week, against Scotto Bozo. And then I believe on the other channel is going to, maybe even going right now, is Brodendap versus Fractal. So they're going to be playing the winner of Scotto Bozo versus Smooth. So Fractal against the Tapper again, and Scotto Bozo versus I think Smooth is Tap. I think. Yeah.
There you go. Sharky, anything from this this bracket you want to call out here? I mean, it's so interesting to hear, these players, a lot of them, as we mentioned, coming into this with momentum, coming into this with world records, coming into this and showcasing some PBs. Like, what can you tell us? What are your headlines looking at this graphic?
I mean, looking at this, I am most excited for Eric versus Huff, because in terms of where they rank in, the competitive scene, they're 3rd in ELO and Huff is 6th in ELO. So we're talking about our top, two members of our top 6. And not only that, over the past 3 years, Eric has set 24 world records. Huff himself has set around 18 world records, but the majority of Huffs have been broken. Eric has the current highest score and highest level in the game. So there's a lot, to unpack there. Both of these players, they already broke world records here on the Honda Cup. And I have a feeling that with their playability, we might see it again.